Greetings and welcome back to my 16th DVD review on PRLostGalaxy2014. Anthony Mars Jr. on PRLostGalaxy2014 for a, believe it or not, DVD review. The entire Rush Hour trilogy, directed by Brett Ratner, starring Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan. Well, I finally completed a trilogy, my friends. A hallmark, a milestone that has been achieved. Well, although there are a few movies I have collected as trilogies, but for comedy films and trilogies, the Rush Hour trilogy is what I completed. The first comedy trio of films directed by Brett Ratner that I've ever done. With me, I have Rush Hour 1, released in 1998, Rush Hour 2, released in 2001, and Rush Hour 3, which I just gotten recently latest pre-owned from from my local FYE store from 2007. Okay, so let me look at the first movie's DVD release, and well, the Platinum Series version of Rush Hour 1. It contained a sneak peek of Rush Hour 3, and so did Rush Hour 2, but what I got was the original DVD release for the second one, which we'll get to in a moment. So here's the packaging for Rush Hour 1, part of New Line Cinema's Platinum Series of, line of movies on DVD. The cover here is more like an alternative of the movie's original theatrical poster from when it was back released in 1998, and here is some of the features included on this disc. Of course, this is a single disc edition. Of course, this is digitally remastered, picture and sound, like it says on the back of the packaging. The special features includes a Rush Hour 3, sneak peek of Rush Hour 3, and including behind the scenes footage and interviews from the cast. There are deleted scenes to this movie, which I did not know actually existed for this. The music video, How Deep Is Your Love? The digital featurettes, the short film, Whatever Happened to Mason Reese, which was actually one of Brett Ratner's first short films before he even did the Rush Hour movies, and of course the prior Chris Tucker movie he did prior to Rush Hour Money Talks, co-starring Charlie Sheen. And of course, audio commentary by Ratner himself. Very cool. And this is what the disc for the first movie looks like for this. So Rush Hour 1 is clear. Now let's look at the original DVD release of Rush Hour 2. Now I can see if I had the Platinum Series edition of Rush Hour 2, and because that contains the Rush Hour 3 sneak peek, but I should have got these movies all together sooner, but instead watching them on TV was just not for my benefit, for the best anyway. So, and also, of course, Rush Hour 2, well, when I was younger, I didn't know who Chris Tucker was at the time when I heard of, this movie. I heard of it as just 2, but I did not know the first one existed until, actually, I didn't see the first Rush Hour until 2006 on a movie channel, but that was a thing in the past, but since I finally caught up on all, the first 2 films, then that's what led to the third one, which we'll get to in a moment. So, Rush Hour 2, yes, it's hilarious and it's better than the first. Well said, Bill Dell of ABC Radio. And this edition of Rush Hour 2 is part of New Line's Infinifilm, series of movies on DVD. And of course, this was the first the first and only Rush Hour movie I had on VHS. So, until the VHS, format started to decline. And here's the Infinifilm featurettes, the behind the movie features such as Jackie Chan's Hong Kong introduction, Culture Clash when West meets East, the language barrier, the attaining international stardom, Kung Fu choreography, early Brett Ratner studio film Lady Luck, just like on the first Rush Hour DVD, which contains a Brett Ratner short film. The fact track, which includes a trivia track with direct access to additional features, including behind the scenes, information about the movie, including an all access, past features, including commentary by Brett Ratner and writer Jeff Nathanson, deleted scenes, including commentary and outtakes, making Magic Out of Mind, a look at Brett Ratner, fashion at Rush Hour 2, visual effects deconstruction, theatrical and teaser trailers for this movie, and cast and crew filmographies. Very cool. This is the menu for those who still have this edition of the movie by Film. I know the first Lord of the Rings movie is also under this edition, so I was aware of it from the film's original VHS release. So, and this here is the disc right here. Very cool with the whole Jackie and Chris pointing at it. Probably this is their way of saying, put this movie in. It's hilarious sort of expression on the disc. I like the way how they use that graphic. It's like they are really pointing at you to put this movie in, or it's like in a way you have to like daring us to put this movie in. Yeah. However, Rush Hour 2 is one of my favorites, my favorite movies ever, and one of my favorites of the three movies. Now let's go to the more, we finally reached the more reviled but yet underrated installment of the three, Rush Hour 3 itself. I have to admit, for a trilogy ender, this was the lesser of the three. Sure, there was some good jokes in Rush Hour 3, but not as, interesting as the jokes in the first two movies. This movie feels like a laid-back installment since, it's been like 7 years since Rush Hour 2, and it seems that when they did this movie, it's been a long time since we've ever seen Jackie and Chris in a Rush Hour film following the second one. When I heard what movies were coming out in 2007, I know I understand Rush Hour 3 was one of those threequels again from 2007 that was totally, in that busy summer year. I mean, I'll never forget the summer of 2007 when we had all of these threequels. Shrek the Third, Pirates of the Caribbean 3, Spider-Man 3, Ocean's 13, Bourne Ultimatum, etc. Rush Hour 3 was one of these threequels that caused the summer of 2007 being one of the worst summers ever dreaded to, but at least this film at least tried to, warm us up with interest. Well, let's face it, the summer of 2007, like I've said before in some videos, there just never was any good films besides, Transformers and Spider-Man 3 and Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. This movie in particular, despite it being originally released in August of 2007, this wasn't, until when I actually got to see the movie, I sort of cracked up at some of the stuff that happened when really nothing was funny out of this one. Sadly. I get the fact that Rush Hour 3 is less worth watching than the first two movies, but actually, there was some good stuff in Rush Hour 3. But regardless, it's still not a good way to end a trilogy that lasted from 1998 to 2007. And almost near 10 years since the first movie. And they should have just, and it feels that when I look back at Rush Hour 3, the movie feels a little rushed because, hence, rush. 3 movies, 90 minutes. Because it just doesn't feel like there wasn't enough. And what's the point of Brett Ratner and crew wanting to do Rush Hour 4 when knowing this would have been, a better, ender of the series? Because when you do a trilogy of movies, why even bother do 3 and 4? That shows that the studio wants to be greedy, or the director wants to be greedy, thinking we should do a fourth movie, or, say for Friday, which, last Friday coming out with, Chris Tucker coming back as Smokey. So, you just wait until when we get, Last Friday, but Last Friday should have been the real third and final installment of the Friday franchise with Ice Cube in the lead role of those movies. But this is Rush Hour 3 with the Rush Hour trilogy with Chris Tucker, and for any of you keep wondering, Chris Tucker is alright hanging out with cool, slick Jackie Chan, but we still prefer him as Smokey and Friday, or what's his name from The Fifth Element. Well, I don't really care, but regardless, actually, the Rush Hour movies made Chris Tucker more of a star than Friday. Well, I love Friday, and it's one of my favorite comedies and one of my favorite Chris Tucker movies ever, but I feel that it's overplayed and overquoted, even for 20 years since that movie's released. So, okay. Unlike the first two movies, Rush Hour 3 for DVD release, sadly, no special features. It's just the cover, the box art. I mean the box to the DVD, and the disc itself, with a slip of the Golden Compass. But didn't this movie come out in 2006? So where did this come from? This must have been in a, well, wrong DVD, I guess. I don't know what movie it was, but Rush Hour 3 sadly has no special features. Well, so with the trilogy complete, which one do you think was the best? Do you think you liked it all three? Did you like the first more? Do you like the second more? Did you like the third more or least? Did you like the first one more or least? Did you like the second one more or least? So I'm glad I got all three Rush Hour movies all, at one time. Well, it took me, I got these first two movies on DVD 2 years ago when I was spending a lot of money, and I just got this for a belated Christmas present personally because I wanted to complete the Rush Hour trilogy. As soon as when I saw at my FYE that they had Rush Hour 3 on DVD, I was like, well, I gotta get this and to complete the trilogy. Even though Rush Hour 3 is not the best of the three, but I finally got all three of these movies together. So I would like to thank everyone for watching my DVD review of the Rush Hour trilogy. I know it's been 12 minutes since I've talked about the DVDs and such, but if I would go ahead and say which of these Rush Hour movies is my favorite, it would have to be Rush Hour 2, because this one cracks me up more than, well, the first movie was okay. Second one was great. Third was meh. So there you have it, my friends. Anthony Marks Jr. on PRLostGalaxy2014. Subscribe, drop a like, share this video with your friends, and I will do more reviews on more DVD movies and TV shows coming up. Thanks for watching.